members of the Riveted. It's late February, early March. I'm Joel, and with me is our always awesome social media manager and the man with his finger on the pulse of news, none other than...
That would be me. That's Jason. Hey, what's going on?
Yes. And tonight we talk... Today, whatever, this whole podcast being timeless thing is weird to me. But today or tonight or whenever you're listening to this, we talk games that we covet of the other person's collection as a part of our two-part series where we'll talk overlap games at some point. But anyway, before we get to that, we'll start off with, I guess, some news, huh, Jason?
Yeah, hey, we got contacted by Travis Hogland, who's with...
That, we'll start off with, I guess, some news, huh, Jason?
Yeah, hey, we got contacted by Travis Hogland, who's with Silver Gaming Company, and he wanted us to review a new game that he has coming out called the Goblin Grapple. I don't really know a ton.
Yeah, I actually looked at a video of the gameplay on this. It looks like a combination of like war meets
Stratego. That's what it sounded like. Yeah, yeah,
and like with hidden cards and maybe a little bit of like some. It feels like some cards can kind of trump other cards too. It looks a little interesting.
Yeah, I mean, anytime we can get a review copy of a game is cool. So I'm pretty pumped about this one, and we'll give it a shot and see what it looks like. And it comes in a sweet box as well, which I'm pretty pumped about.
Yeah, that laser etched box is awesome looking, and I'm with you. Anytime that we can get a chance to do a preview of something that's going to be a pretty important Kickstarter, that's pretty exciting. That makes you feel like you get a chance to be heard for sure. So
Agreed.
We're excited about the opportunity, and thanks for that.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, that was just kind of like news that was probably pretty important to us. But now here's what's going on I guess, Kickstarter to start with.
Right. All right, so the first thing that I wanted to take a look at is a game called Robin Hood and the Merry Men. It's by the same company that recently did the Kickstarter Rise to Nobility. I'm not sure if it's the same company or same designer, but somehow they're related. And this actually seems pretty intriguing to me because it's a worker placement game. It's a big, heavy euro. But the funny thing is it has some dice rolling combat, which brings me into a little bit of Ameritrash, which I usually steer away from. But it seems pretty fitting and cool in this one.
Yeah, I actually saw this one too. I saw a preview of it, and it looks like you're like basically trekking through the woods on like kind of a journey. Is that this one?
Yeah, you're interesting.
I love the theme. The theme is really cool. I'm not sure if I'll back this one or not. There's just so much out there that you have to choose between backing
Agreed.
and not backing.
Yeah, agreed.
But you know what's kind of cool is a game that you and I both own, like kind of as a sneak preview of, I think you own this one too. I'm pretty sure you do. You know what game was originally published as Robin Hood, right? Sheriff
of Nottingham, right?
Yeah, Sheriff of Nottingham. Before it became the Dice Tower Essentials line, it was called Robin Hood. So
nice.
It's a cool theme for sure, and I do love Sheriff of Nottingham. It's a good game. It's a lot of fun. The expansion I haven't picked up yet, but anyway, I think we're getting into stuff we own, which is later in the show. Anyway,
all right.
What did you know what the price point on this one is by any chance?
Yeah, I just looked at it. I thought it said it was 56. That sounds right, and it said when it goes to retail, it's going to be 70. Oh
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it'll actually sell for $56 on Amazon.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
No, but that's not bad. I kind of like that they're giving people a price break. It used to be that way on Kickstarter a lot.
Yeah, I think it's cool. That's how it should be. You're helping them fund the game. They should give you a cheaper price than it would cost in the store. But
absolutely. And that's the other thing too is like when people talk about getting stiffed on Kickstarters, I mean, I'm kind of going on a tirade here, but when people talk about getting stiffed on Kickstarters, people are less than sympathetic most of the time. And I think it's because they're like, when you did that, you were just saying, I support your idea. And you never were guaranteed any kind of backing or any kind of, reward. Like, that's bullcrap. Nobody gives $60 to somebody just because they're like, hey, I think you're a cool person. Like, you want something back out of it. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. I guess that was just some neuron in my brain triggered over to talk about that. But I mean, honestly, like when you're doing Kickstarter, you're doing it because you feel like it's either you want something out of it most of the time. It's not because you think, hey, I'm being philanthropic and this is a charity, Right, so them giving you a little break is pretty awesome.
Agreed. The next game I want to talk about is called Deadwood 1876. And the reason that this is interesting to me is because it's from the same people that made Tortuga.
Yes.
And they do all the games that look like cool little books. And Tortuga is super fun. And if this game is even like a quarter as fun as that one, I'm in. And plus, it's a cool Wild West theme. So that always makes games a little cooler.
I'm really tempted on this one. My son just said he really wants to get photosynthesis. So like I'm pretty tempted to get that. But this one, I think it's 23 or 26 bucks.
Yeah, they're usually pretty cheap, yeah.
Well, and then you can do an add-on for either Salem or Tortuga for $20 a piece.
Right.
But these games look so cool. I mean, like the little book thing, like this is a game that you wouldn't have to put on your bookshelf. It could be a part of your decor in your game that you wouldn't have to put on your bookshelf. It could be a part of your decor in your house. You know what I mean? Yeah,
they're really nice.
They're just really pretty little games. And then I actually did watch this quite a bit because this one really intrigued me. Salem or Tortuga are definitely on my games I want to get list. And, I don't know. I wanted to look at this one. At first, I was like, I don't know. It feels like it's not going to be too strong a gameplay because it's like you're playing cooperatively. Then at the last minute, you kind of like fight each other to get all the gold. So it's like, why does it matter if we cooperate ever in the game? Like, why wouldn't I just hoard the best resources for myself? And I kind of understood that a little better. There's like a team aspect, then you fight your team kind of thing. Is what I feel like happens there. So it does have more to it than I thought. It actually looks pretty decent. And then the other thing too is like you can figure out if someone's not pulling their weight, if someone you think is definitely hoarding cards for that final shutdown, you can actually banish them off your team. So it's got some kind of cool mechanics to it that I don't know if this one's going to be Salem or Tortuga. It's going to be Salem or Tortuga awesome. It has definitely the potential to be that, but I want to own one of the three games and I'm not sure which one yet. And this one's definitely got me interested. And I know I just looked, it's at like $145,000 of its goal, which was like 25,000 was its goal. And it's at 142 and it has 24 days to go. So this one's going to be a massively huge success for them.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be amazing in every way.
Yeah, I think I'll probably end up backing this one if I had to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but since I already have Tortuga, it seems kind of similar in gameplay, so I don't really feel like I need both of them. But if I didn't have Tortuga,
I get that.
Yeah,
I certainly get that. I mean, like, there's just I don't know. It's something I want to talk about in gaming eventually at some point. And like with our next point, I guess it's a good segue into it. There's like models of games where it's like you almost have the next game become obsolete before you. Like my two biggest examples of this are Forbidden Island and Forbidden Desert. Like Forbidden Island came out and then Forbidden Desert came out. Like, and I know they're different enough games that they aren't exactly the same, but it's like Forbidden Desert's just like the version of the game that I think is just much better, and it has a lot of the same flavor and everything like that. Well, now Forbidden Sky is coming out, and it looks like it's a full-fledged game in that same kind of series. So it's like, I don't know, it's like there's almost like a planned obsolescence in games. The other one that I like am having a hard time with is Above and Below and Near and Far. Like I own Above and Below, and I was really hyped for it. But then Near and Far came out, and I know they're different games again too, but I don't know that I'll ever end up playing like Above and Below if I had the choice between the two, honestly. So anyway, Forbidden Sky was my next news point, but it's coming out.
Right.
But I mean, like, and I'm not trying to be mean towards it. I mean, like Matt Leacock is somebody that I definitely admire. He definitely is like probably the father of co-op gaming. I know that like The Hobbit come out before him, and there was what's that Days of Wonder game called? Man, what can't I think of it right now? The King Arthur game. Dang it, why can't I think of the name of it right now? Anyway, it'll come to me in a second. But there were other cooperative games out there before Pandemic.
I think you're thinking of Shadows over Camelot, right?
Yeah, that's it. Shadows over Camelot.
Sorry.
But Pandemic was one that definitely like was the first one to really bring the co-op thing into the mainstream, I think. I mean, Shadows did it to a degree, and Lord of the Rings did it to a degree, but like he cleaned it up and made it just a lot better thing to do. And then he's taken that system that like on your turn use 4 actions and have a player power thing and put that into about 10 different games now. And other people have made a slight version of it that's like a ripoff of it, like Flashpoint. I mean, it's a little different, but I mean, it's been hugely popular. Now the latest version of that is Forbidden Sky, which was announced, I guess, or finally like revealed to be, hey, it's definitely happening this last week. It looks like it's going to have a Gen Con 18 release. I'll say this, Jason, the thing I'm most excited about this game is it's not in one of those stupid tins. It's actually in a proper Christian cardboard box. So
yeah, that is pretty nice.
And I'm just kidding about the Christian part. I mean, this game's clearly not Christian. I don't think. I don't know. It's not commissioned.
That's true. It's not. Or Kingdom of Solomon. Yeah.
Which are both games I think I would like. I own commissioned. So anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I'm just being silly. Like, that's just a thing that, like, my brother and I say is, like, we call something, like, good, proper, and Christian just as a funny thing to say. And, like, I'm a born-again Christian myself, so it's not like I'm disparaging any belief system or anything when I say that. It's just a little thing I say.
Right, yeah.
All right, well, the last thing I want to mention in the news, too, Jason, that I found, and this is going to be pretty exciting for us, is we live, a couple hundred miles apart from each other. Well, and like, I think that you've decided to go with a more mobile stuff than having a heavy computer around your house, which a lot of people have gone that direction. I mean, a tablet does 99% of what you want to do on a computer anymore.
Right.
So Tabletopia or Tabletopia or however you want to pronounce it is now on iOS. And I know it's definitely on iOS tablets. But iPads, I guess is what they're called, but I'm not sure if it's on the phones yet, but that's pretty huge news. Because it lets people like you and I, on a Thursday night say, hey, you want to play, a round of Manhattan Project or something? And we can just fire that up and play, which is pretty cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that is cool. I think I tried to download it on my phone today and it didn't work yet. So I don't think it's quite yet available. But I didn't try the iPad yet, so I don't know.
I haven't tried iPad either yet, Jason. I basically just saw that it was existing in the App Store, but I was on my Android phone at the time. But I'll try it on my iPad at some point. But it's brand new, and it has pretty good ratings. It has like a 4.5 star rating so far. So
that's cool.
So Jason, let's get to the part people actually want to listen for, I guess.
All
what
right.
have you played since the last time we talked?
Well, I played a new hotness game from Matt Gertz, the designer of Concordia. And this game was called Transatlantic.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so good. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty interesting. I looked at some reviews of it and some things about it. I actually wonder if I might like it better than Concordia. I know that's like blasphemy for most people, but I don't know. People were like, it's got more of a chaotic feel to it, and it's not got the economic map.
I played it as
chaotic feel to it, and it's not got the economic map type stuff on it. But I mean, really, honestly, I think the card play is why people really like Concordia. So I'm really interested to try this one out.
Right. Yeah. I played it as a 3-player game, and it was amazingly fun. I mean, just the whole playing one card, and then you can copy someone else's card if you've already played that card, and then you can play a card to pick everything back up, and having to deploy your ships based on a younger ship going to the top of the list so it stays out on the board longer to earn you more money. And yeah, the whole every mechanism in that game was amazing. And the scoring was kind of cool based on when you had a ship come off the board, it would basically go to the scrapyard. And the scoring was based on how many ships were in the dock of that color and how many like little chits you had on your player board of that color. So you kind of do the chits plus the number of cards in the deck in the dock.
Do you think
it was amazing?
It's that whole upgrading your ships and getting newer ships thing almost sounds like the 18XX games a little bit, but it sounds like it's pretty cool. Do you think you could, so like I own Union Pacific, in that game, there is really no need for a board. Like I have a friend of mine who carries his copy of Union Pacific around in a little like white deck box, and like he just plays on a table. Do you think you could almost play this one without a board?
I mean, it's barely a board as it is. It's like 4 little sections. Basically, I don't know, like 12 by 3-inch sections. So you just set that up based on the number of players. So yeah, you could totally get rid of the board and just lay cards out if you need to. Yeah.
See, the reason why that interests me is I'm going to be like, out of my house for a while this summer, like all of us do, and we go on little vacations and trips in the summer. And I'm really interested in trying to, so like when I went to Gatlinburg a couple years ago, I brought 9 games and put it all in a Ticket to Ride box. So like I'm really interested in trying to find games that are pretty rich, not just little filler games, but can be pretty compact. So this one might fit the ticket for that, honestly.
Yeah, I think it would work. I mean, you just have to remember, you might have to make yourself some notes because there's one player board where the ship market, where you're buying the new boats, they have, based on the position on that board, because there's like another little board, based on the position of where that boat is, it adds a cost to the ship. So you might have to make yourself some notes that, hey, this first ship is 0, the next one's 10. But, I mean, it's not a big deal, I don't think. Yeah.
Very cool. I have a guilty confession here I have to make. I own Concordia. I picked it up late 2017. Found a copy of it, and in spite of that horrible looking box art, decided to buy it. I have not played it yet, so I'm feeling pretty guilty about that. But by all accounts, like everyone that I trust who's played games says Concordia is amazing, and it looks. I've played it like a one player playing 2 players kind of thing,
right?
And it's it plays pretty smooth, even just with myself playing against myself. So I mean, like I'm looking forward to playing Concordia as well. Matt Gertz, he's got 3 really noteworthy names. I guess 2 really noteworthy, and then one that kind of super fans know about, the Navigador or whatever the name of that game is.
Didn't he also do Hamburgum or something like that?
Yeah, Hamburgum, which is known for having ridiculous components as much as anything else, I think.
Right, yeah.
Cool. I played this last week. I played this is actually kind of a cool story. I took my son to the board game shop, and we were out just doing some errands, and I stopped by Rupel's in Dunlap, Indiana. So I'm giving you a shout out here, Rex. He's an awesome dude. He takes care of people who are your regular customers. He's your very typical friendly local board game shop.
Right.
Love the guy and love his shop. But anyway, whenever I go in there, I spend a ton of time, and so I try to at least buy something. And I was mostly in there to buy my friend a birthday present. And while I was in there, my son was looking at Unearth and a couple other games. He was looking at Stuffed Fables, and he was like, "Whoa, $70!" And I was like, "Yeah, he'll probably give me a little money off on it, but it'd still be, this much money." And he's like, "Yeah, that's a lot." And I was like, "What about this one, Unearth?" Because he kept looking at it, and he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty awesome." I go, "What if I paid for half of it? You paid for half of it?" It was, "Oh, I'm buying it then." So like that was pretty awesome that he was that interested in buying Unearth. And so he came home and he read all the directions on it, punched it all out, got it all ready to play. And he had a couple of friends over, and he was actually, this is gonna be one of those moments I'm gonna remember forever as the dad of a board gamer. He's like, "Hey Dad, you want to play with us?" I was like, "Absolutely." I was totally in. And this game I didn't expect much out of, except for it to be a really pretty little game.
Right.
But man, it is not bad at all. Like, it's pretty cool. And I don't know how much you know about it, but it's like if you roll low, you get these, they call them stones. They're basically cubes that you're trying to make arrays of to like get these like slight player powers or something.
Yeah.
And then if you roll high, then you can win the area control part and actually get these cards when they break, kind of like Smash Up. So at any rate, long story short, like it's pretty awesome. So I don't know. I didn't expect really anything from this game, and I was really happy to get a chance to play it and just enjoy it. And it's, man, I don't know. The coolest mechanic in it, I think, is that you can use these little hex tiles to make like a 5-sided or 6-sided little shape, and then you put like a little like earn token in the middle of it. Well, then you can build off of that. So like you're trying to be strategic with the colors you pick and with stuff like that. So I don't know. It was a little like earn token in the middle of it. Well, then you can build off of that. So like you're trying to be strategic with the colors you pick and with stuff like that. So I don't know. It was a neat little game. It's really pretty too.
It seems fun. Is it a filler or is it like an actual full length game?
It's if you're gonna call it I'd call it a filler, but
Okay.
it's
All right.
a robust filler, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
I think we played it. A couple of the little kids that were here with Luke were really into it and wanted to win bad, so they were pretty AP prone. But we still played it in like with 4 players. Played it in probably 50 minutes, maybe a
that's not
little
bad.
less.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I think if you played it with 2 people who just kind of don't care if they win that much, they just want to have fun and are just kind of using their intuition, like you know how you and I play.
Right.
I think you and I could play this game in 25 minutes or so.
Nice.
But it's fun. I mean, you're just chucking dice. You're picking which die you want to roll. Really, a really fun little game.
Cool. Yeah, I've been wanting to play it, but again, you're the only person I know that has it, and I haven't wanted to ever pull the trigger and buy it. So
yeah, I guess it's going to be a 6 for you. Like, you'll be happy to play my copy, or actually my son's copy, but that's my guess on where you'll be at with it. Right, I'm not sure that this is one that you're going to be like, I got to go out and rage buy this one.
It's probably true. It seems a little too light for me, but still fun, though.
Yeah, it's a fun little game, though.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and I'm not going to talk about my next one because I've already talked about that one until I've been blue in the face. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about another game that I played called the Shipwreck Arcana. And I don't know if you've heard of this one or not, but it was on Kickstarter. And my buddy picked it up, and he brought it over this weekend. And essentially, it's a cooperative deduction game where you're pulling tiles out of a bag with a number 1 through 7. There's 3 of each number in the bag.
The artwork looks awesome. I saw you posted a picture, and I thought, man, that Art Deco style of art on that thing is really cool. I actually thought it was transatlantic at first that you were posting. I was like, man, the art looks really cool on the inside of the box. No. But no, the art looks awesome on that game. Yeah,
it's awesome. So that makes the game a little cooler. But you're pulling these chits out of this little black bag, and you have 2 numbers. So you could get 2 of the same numbers. You could get 2 different numbers. And there are 4 cards that are laid out that give you clues based on what number you play on that card. It's going to have like a special power that the card does. Like say if you play a number here, the other number you have in your hand is within 4 of that number. So you're trying to give your teammates a clue on what number you have by placing another number out on the row of cards. So you're trying to...
So it's like a little like Hanabi, but not.
Kinda. I mean, it's hard to explain, actually. I was trying to figure out, after we played it, like how I could explain it. And the closest thing I can think of, if ever played Council of Verona.
I have not.
Well, Council of Verona does the same thing. You're playing these little bidding chits on these cards. They take control of the cards. It's not cooperative, but it's a similar mechanism. So this turns that into like a deduction cooperative game. And you're trying to get 8 answers right before the doom clock hits 8. So you're in a race against doom to end the game. And the game takes like 10 minutes. It's super fast, but it's actually a pretty fun 10 minutes.
So like it's an abstract game basically, but if you wanted to try and put a theme on it, like you're like locked in a cabin of a boat and you're trying to find the combination for the lock that's keeping you in or something. I mean, like, well, I don't know.
The cards actually look like tarot cards. So it looks like art from tarot cards.
Huh.
So it's really beautiful artwork, but they all have names like the space between and like the horror and stuff like that. So you're trying to use, it's just, the theme is nothing. It's non-existent, but it's pretty artwork and it's fun. So I think it's cool.
Do you foresee this game being one that is going to be a game that people are really like hyped about and wait for a second printing and it's going to be hard to find for a while kind of game? Or do you think this is one that's just going to be kind of a niche game that people are going to go, hey, what game do you think's cool that no one's ever heard of? The Shipwreck Arcana, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be that niche game. It would be cool if it took off because at least the artwork is pretty, but I don't know if it's going to have appeal like like Santorini. It's not like Santorini or, those other abstract games like Onitama. It's just, it's there, it's cool, it's interesting. There's no other game kind of like it. So if you have it, it's cool that you have it, but I don't think they're going to be in a rush to reprint it and make it the new hotness.
Huh. That's cool. It looks really cool. Do you know if there's any retail distribution on it, or are we all just out of luck if we didn't get the Kickstarter?
Yeah, honestly, all I know about it is what I saw when I played it. That's it. I know it came from Kickstarter and that my friend has it. Outside of that, I don't really know a lot about it.
Yeah. Sounds pretty interesting. And like, I can't speak much to it except for the art does definitely look cool. I'll back you on that one.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
My last game of the night, because I'm going to, I'll skip my middle game too, Jason. Solidarity. We'll talk about those some other time. But mine's really an app that's a board game. So that's a hint for you that like people are out there like, oh, he's clearly talking about this game. But anyway, we'll talk about it maybe next week or something. My last game I want to talk about is a roll and write game. Roll then write game is what I'm going to start calling them because like saying something's by Roland Wright sounds like he's the most popular designer ever. And he created the Yahtzee and a bunch of other games. But Roll Then Right, Harvest Dice is the name of it. And I'm not going to talk a ton about it because I did jump over to our Facebook page and I have a full playthrough on there. So if you want to see a full playthrough of this game, it's a total, just a little filler game. but it's so fun. It's a just great fun little game. And actually, we played it a little bit wrong in the Let's Play video on there. And actually, I think the way how it really plays is probably a little fuzz better. But it's basically you're drafting die, and then there are different colors of die, and you're trying to like basically make the die where you're placing them on this grid be adjacent to each other. Based on like what they are. So like there's like orange dye that are carrots, there's red dye that are tomatoes, and green dye that are lettuce. And so then like basically your columns are 1 through 6. And then you also have this like dump area where you can basically dump vegetables that you can't use to a pig, and the pig like gets fatter and gives you more powers and stuff. And it's got kind of a cool like hidden economic thing on it too, where you're trying to not draft certain die to try and make them more valuable and stuff. But I mean, I'm not normally a roll die and write down something on a pad kind of person. But this one to me, like, destroys Yahtzee. Like, I mean, like, my wife loves Yahtzee. She'd probably play Yahtzee with me every night, but I don't want to do that to myself. So this game is like the closest thing to a compromise that I can find with her, where she actually enjoyed this game quite a bit. Luke liked it quite a bit. He wants to revive our Dad, Son in a Game review series on YouTube with it, which may happen. I told him if we're going to do it, he has to do all the editing and production on it. And he said, maybe. So if that happens, it happens. We'll see. But, Harvest Dice was the name of the game. It's a really cool little game. It's pretty readily available, but you are going to have to pay MSRP for it, even on cool stuff and stuff right now, because it's $14.99 and it's just that much everywhere. So that's one that I suggest you go to your friendly local game shop and buy from him, because you can support him and it doesn't cost you anything to support him, and he makes a little money off you. So, but a really cool in it to keep gamers involved, has enough ease and access to it that my grandma could play it, and she's passed away 2 years ago. So, I mean, like, that's really saying something.
Right.
So
that's a good game right there. Literally, I don't think I have a single rolls and write game other than Yahtzee.
This game makes me want to buy more, honestly. I'm really looking hard at Avenue, but it's actually like called Kokoro now, I think.
Right, yeah.
I think it actually looks kind of cool, too. I don't know. I didn't think I'd be into roll and write games at all, but I kind of enjoy them.
Yeah, the only one I seem to kind of be interested in is Castles of Burgundy, the dice game, but that's just because I'm a Feldite and I need to get more Feld in my life.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cheap game, too. I think it's only like, I don't know, $12-13 or something like that. Yeah. So it'd be worth the risk on it, too, to just see how you like roll and write games.
Agreed.
So, well, now into our future. Games that we stay up late at night, breaking out into cold sweats, to see how you like roll and write games.
Agreed.
So, well, now into our future. Games that we stay up late at night, breaking out into cold sweats, wishing we owned, but we know exist in the other person's game library. I'll go ahead and kick it off because I've got a pretty good first choice, and we've talked about this on here before. But Jason, whenever I see that pink glorious box, pinkish, purplish, all kinds of hot colors that remind me of Windbreakers circa 1985, whenever I see Dinosaur Island, I just think, man, I wish I could get a copy of that game. And it's a true, like, I covet that game because I am not finding that anywhere at a reasonable price.
No,
so,
you're not going to.
Yeah, it's an awesome game. I love playing that game. It's just the way how it works, like 4 mini games, and then they all come together to be one like really great game. I love that, and it's something that I think is accessible to almost non-gamers. I mean, like, I don't think I quite have enough, but somebody who's played any kind of worker placement game at all whatsoever, like even Stone Age or something simple like that, could probably figure this one out. And so it's really accessible. The theme makes it interesting for people. The artwork is cool and just like fun. It makes it just a more fun game. And then it's heavy enough too, though, by the time that you connect all those elements together, it's like you have 4 bite-sized chunks that you can do, but then connecting those like little bite-sized chunks together makes this not super complex, but like it's like trying to fit the gears together in a machine kind of game, and I really like it. So, Jason, go hug and kiss your copy of Dinosaur Island for me because I love it. So that's my first pick.
Yeah, that's a great pick. If I didn't have that, that would probably be my first pick too. If you had it, but I'm going to start my first pick with a game that we played at our first BGM con that I was obsessed with. I've been trying to find a copy ever since, and it's almost as impossible as Dinosaur Island to find this game. And this game is Dogs of War.
Oh, good pick.
I don't like. It's not even really a heavy Euro game, but man, there's just something about that game that is fascinating to me. I like the negotiation. I like the tug of war, battling in each of the 3 battles. I hate the minis, but I still like the game.
You just replace yours with cubes or discs or something.
Yeah, we went to one of my friend's birthday parties at this board game cafe that's around our area, and they had a copy of Dogs of War for sale, and I so wanted it, but they wanted like $60 for it or something. I was like, man, I can't.
Oh, that's silly.
I can't do that. Yeah, it was staring right there. It was within reach. I could almost touch it, and I couldn't. I couldn't spend that much money for it.
I think my copy was $18 shipped on a CMON sale, so I think they definitely run sales on it sometimes. I'd just be patient with it.
That's crazy.
So yeah, and then like you'll probably spend another, I don't know, $4 on spray paint and cubes from Hobby Lobby to make your game playable for yourself. So
yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
The thing that's crazy about this game is if you were going to describe this game to somebody, you'd say it's like Tug of War, the board game. And it sounds horrible, but it's really fun.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And that's what it is. You're essentially doing a tug of war. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun game. And this is one that I kind of not totally dumb lucked into. Like I just saw one person talk about it, like really impassionately about how fun this game is and how it was like all the tension of diplomacy. And then 3 minutes later, it's a different game of diplomacy. And then 3 minutes later, it's a different game of diplomacy. And I wouldn't say it's quite all the emotions and tension of diplomacy, but it definitely like has a lot of negotiation and stuff that happens in a pretty sleek package. I would say there's not a better game that negotiations and fun factor per minute beats it as far as if you're going to play a negotiating game.
I agree. I agree. I totally agree.
It's not going anywhere from my collection, that's for sure. I love it.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. You can't even find that on Board Game Geek used. You can't find that thing. It's like non-existent. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's because our following, the Riveted, is so evangelical about it. They've heard us talk about it. They've gone out and bought up all the copies like as quickly as they could.
Is. I really hope
each
that's
have like each of our 10 fans have 40 copies of that game sitting on their shelf at home. So you know who you are, our 10 fans. We see you post on there. We give you high fives. We love you guys, the 10 hardcore fans. And like you 10 fans are telling other people, we just need the other 100 people who do listen every week to just like get on our Facebook page and say hi. Like we need to know you exist. Anyway, yeah, Dogs of War is a good pick, Jason.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so time for you to get some love for your collection back here, okay? Right. Man, I had such a hard time picking between about 5 games that are all pretty close, but the next one I'm going to say is this, Marco Polo. And I mean, like, it's a game that I really want to play, and I love the idea of placing dice, and I guess this is the supreme best dice placement game out there. And then the really cool asymmetrical player power things. This is one that I covet of yours that I haven't even played yet. And I mean, like, it's another one too that it never is real cheap. Like I've been keeping a close eye on this one to try and find a copy for like, around $30. If I ever could find one for around 30, I'd pull the trigger. But I think the lowest I've ever seen it get to is like maybe $44 or something like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's a pretty not sweet looking game, but it's a pretty sweet sounding game. It definitely doesn't look sweet. I'm not trying to rag on it, but it doesn't look that awesome.
Well, no, it's a Euro game. Yeah.
It looks like El Grande era artwork on playing this one. Like, I don't care if I've got to stay till like 3:00 in the morning so it can get worked into the schedule. We're definitely playing this one next time we play. So
I'm up for it. Yeah, I haven't played this game for a long time, and it's in my like top 5. So
I'm gonna own the expansion, and I won't own the base game yet. We'll put our 2 halves together and play the game with the expansion on it.
Heck yeah, man!
I guess the expansion comes out this week, maybe the full blown expansion that's coming out for it, or I think it's in retail this week.
I think that's what Cool Stuff showed. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know anything about the expansion, and it's probably just gonna make me covet that game even more. But anyway, Marco Polo is my next pick, and it's a weird pick because it's not like I can't ever own it. It's not like Dinosaur Island where it's like I would have to literally murder a person to get a copy of it. So
yeah, that's true. That is 100% true.
So Marco Polo and that ugly box is my next pick.
All right, mine is also not impossible to find. I can find it. I just don't want to pay for it. And that is Vinos.
Yes.
It doesn't even have to be. Pick. It doesn't even have to be the new fancy one. I've been watching some stuff on just the What's Your Game old version. I'll take that one too. I just want to play that game because the mechanisms are just right up my alley, and I love Vidal Lacerda so much.
Yeah, it's like Jamie Stegmaier and Vidal Lacerda decided to make a game together, and they took Gallerist and Viticulture, and they were like, let's see if we can mesh these into one game and make a remix. And it kind of is that. I don't know. It's not totally the Gallerist, but it's got the same like core thing that he does, where it's like, go one of these 9 spots and then 100 things happen, you know?
Right, yeah. And you get to do 12 actions over the entire course of the game. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you do a little more than that in Vinos, but it's not a ton. I think there's like 6 seasons and you do 2 actions per season. Oh yeah, it is 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. It feels like more than that though.
You can take more
in one by that though.
You can take more based on some other stuff that happens. Like there are some where you can get like some bonus actions. So you're probably really going to take like 16 or 18 or something, but still, that's not a lot.
Well, and the cool thing about Vinos too, to brag about my own game, you know, is it has the 2 versions in one box. So you are paying like, I don't know, I think you probably can get it for like $70 some, but I think you could justify this because it's actually 2 games, not just one. So, yeah, that's kind of a gimmick. There's like 2 different rules on the 2 different games, I guess, but the two versions of the same game. But honestly, the 2016 version really is like such a more entry-level consumer type level game without the extra convoluted banking and making the wine fair so much more simple. And then the 2010 version is like going to be like, oh, we don't want to forget about Jason. Let's make this game intense and hard. Yes, so we're going to make the 2010 version of the box as well. So yeah, that's the difference between us. I'm a 2016 guy. You're a 2010 guy. So like, if we ever talk to people who are really in the know about board games and they want to know what like our differences are in our personalities in gaming, we'll just have to say, I'm a 2016 Vinos guy. He's a 2010 Vinos guy. And they'll go, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So
I'm the back of the board Vinos box guy. You're the front of the board guy. Yeah. You
know, my favorite thing about the deluxe edition of Vinos is, I mean, this is stupid, but I just think it's cool, is that you bag everything up and then like there's one little baggie and you're like, what is this? And you flip it over and it has a label on it that says spare parts. Like it literally comes with a bag of spare parts, which is kind of awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah. The Gallerist kind of does that a little bit, but not too much.
Well, speaking of Gallerist, that's my coveted game of yours too. So we both are cheapskates. We don't want to pay for those big Eagle Griffin boxes, but you know, honestly, like you own Gallerist, I own Vinos, and like to be truthful, to be truthful with you, I think they do enough to itch the same scratch of being that heavier Euro game with like just beautiful components and beautiful like artwork and just the finish on the cards and the finish on the player boards and just, oh man. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how Gallerist's insert is, but Vinos's insert feels like Tupperware. Like that's how thick the plastic is on it. So like,
I think the Gallerist insert's exactly the same one that Vinos uses.
Yeah, and it has like the little lid on it. It's just awesome, man. It's amazing. So it doesn't really fit any of the components right, but I mean, like it's made out of such good material that it's just awesome.
That's so, true,
but Gallerist is my pick. I think it's really cool. I love that I don't know. I love the theme of it. Like I feel like making a heavy Euro game about making wine in Portugal is kind of like, yeah, of course. But then like saying, hey, I'm going to own an art gallery and I'm going to try and scout out local talent and I'm going to try and like create artificial hype and manipulate the markets in ways that are questionably legal. I mean, like that's such a cool theme. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And I mean, like, I don't think it's illegal to do that, but I think it's just shady. And I know galleries do it all the time, like promote their own artists. So,
well, I mean, Vidal Lacerda's a genius. He also has Kanban, which is about an assembly line in a car production factory. So, I mean,
and it too is like go one of 4 places and the rest of the sport is superfluous. So,
he's crazy.
No, that's another one. That's going to have to come up on our games we both own show at some point. But yeah, he has yet to make a bad game, I think. I mean, like, maybe he made some bad games, but he, like, doused them with kerosene and burnt them in his backyard before they ever saw the light of day. So, I mean, everything he's got is just, it's a masterpiece. I mean, like, he's an artist of a game designer. So,
yeah, I agree.
Speaking of artist and art gallerist is my game that I look at for sales on that one too. One of these days it's going to be a Cool Stuff Inc. or Miniature Market deal of the day, and I'll be able to get it for like $50, and I probably will pull the trigger on it. But
that's
I love
how I
that
got
game.
it. That's the only reason I have it. It was $50, including shipping. So I was like, oh yeah.
I remember that sale. Like I remember seeing it on the subreddit for board game deals, which I kind of hate that I just blurted that out because that's my like secret place to go to find board game deals.
Right,
and like I like quick get to them before everyone else. But now, great, all 12 fans of ours are going to subscribe there now, and I won't get any board games now. So
buy all the games
because they each own 40 copies of Dogs of War. I mean, they're the kind of people who do that. So anyway.
That's true.
No, but I mean, like, I remember that exact sale, and I was like, I don't know. I've never played it before. I'm not sure if it's awesome. And, like, I totally wish I would have pulled the trigger on it. You're the man who's wise enough to do that. So I'm jealous of your copy of Gallerist.
All right. So, another game that you have that I really, really want, probably the most of all of these, is Mombasa.
It's not an episode of the Board Game Mechanics without us mentioning Mombasa.
That's true. And the thing with this game is, I just looked at Cool Stuff today, and it's $49. It's not even like it's expensive.
Hey, that makes your rule, man. That makes your rule of not spend $50 on a game. So
I know. I thought about it, but I don't know.
This one will be in your collection eventually. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, eventually I'll have to pull the trigger on it because it's just too good of a game not to.
It was awesome. I mean, even us playing it with two, it played with two really well. So I don't know. It's a good game.
Yeah, I agree. And I was just watching the Dice Tower top 100 with Melody and Jason Levine.
Yeah, it's his number 13, I think.
Yeah, he loves Mombasa. And he was talking about the cool playing a card, and then you have to move it up to the discard pile, and then you can only pick one up. And he said that was his favorite mechanism, and that is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I like the stock manipulation stuff too. That's pretty cool. Here's the thing about that. I've watched that top 100 too. I haven't watched the whole thing. I watched like their top 20 and their last 10, like their 90 to 100, or 190. And the two things that blow my mind on that series are, one, Melanie Vassal is like 18 years old. Like I remember her being like 11, and I'm like,
right.
Oh, Tom, you're bringing the kid on? Okay, whatever. And like it was fine. Like I do the same thing with my kids. So But I mean, I seriously remember her being like 11, like this little girl. Like I was like. And now she's like a young lady. It's like crazy. But she has a pretty awesome... She does have pretty awesome taste in games, honestly. I think she has better taste than her dad, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, but the other thing that blew my mind is that Mombasa was his 13, and one of my shame games, Great Western Trail, was his number 2, I think. So, like... I've got to get that one out. I mean, same designer, and he thinks it's much better. And as much as I love Mombasa, I'm guessing I'm really going to love Great Western Trail. So hopefully next week when we record, I can say I played it over the last week and talk about it. But yeah, I don't blame you for wanting Mombasa. It's a great game. I talk about it every week on this show. Whenever I get a chance, I will talk about it.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree.
I had some custom shirts made up that said, "Ask me about Mombasa," to wear around Gen Con. So pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's funny.
Well, there's not many games about camping in Africa, you know? I mean, like, because that's the theme, going on a camping trip in Africa. So,
yeah.
Or at least that's what I tell myself.
Yeah. That's the happy theme. Yes.
We're putting tents up all over Africa to go sightseeing and see the African bananas and elephants. So, anyway.
Yeah, and coffee.
Yeah, I loved playing that game with you too. I'm not surprised it made your list because I think it seemed like you were having a good time playing it.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead. We have time. Transatlantic you mentioned today already. That's one that I haven't even played yet, and I know that I'm going to enjoy it. And I actually think I like the theme of that game far superior to Concordia. Like the Concordia theme of like building and trading in the Mediterranean. I absolutely hate that theme. And I bought that game in spite of that theme. So Transatlantic is one that I definitely like would love to play at some point. And then the other one that is just, again, there's no reason that like, there's no reason why this one isn't, in my collection. It's Secret Hitler. Like that game's $35, and I think you have to pay shipping right now on it. But I mean, like, there's no reason why I don't own an official version of that game yet. Like, but that game is so good. I mean, just it's the social deduction game. After you play that game, you're like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna throw in my copy of The Resistance and Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, and all these games where there's secret roles and stuff. So forget it.
Right.
Yeah, social games. There's probably some other ones out there too that I wish I owned yours, but those are the two that, man, I was like, oh, those are hard not to put on the list.
Yeah, I didn't really think about what to talk about of yours, but since we talked about it earlier, Great Western Trail probably for sure. Because that seems like a heavier version of Mombasa, which is right up my alley. And then I'd probably also pick either Scythe or Euphoria.
One of those Jamie S games, huh?
Yep. Probably Scythe just because it costs more money. So that would be more of an unattainable game, you know?
So you could trade it for something better eventually down the road.
Yeah.
I get you. That's okay.
I did like that game, though, which I still don't know if I did really like it or I was just enamored by it and it was late.
Yeah, it has conflict in it, which I know is a big put off for you and Rado. So, I mean, like, I get that.
Yeah.
So I know that you're eyeballing my copy of Finca. That's one that I was like, he might put Finca on the list, but only because it's like out of print right now.
Right. Yeah.
But it is a good game, and I think you probably wouldn't mind playing that one.
No, I'd play it for sure.
And the other one was Concordia. I thought, maybe he'll put Concordia on there. As much as you like Transatlantic, he might think that game's cool too.
I thought about it, but I don't know. Like, the more I watch Concordia, the more I think I like the way that Transatlantic does the stuff outside of the card play, so like the moving ships around and stuff. I think I like that better than what Concordia does on the board. The
gathering resources and building things up kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely... I mean, like, I think Transatlantic is more fun I think, like, the ratio of, like... I think they're both, like, a solid, like, B-plus game. And then, like, the Concordia puts an extra layer of, like, heaviness and, like, very Euro-ness on top of it, which makes it an A game. And I think Transatlantic puts solid, like B-plus game. And then, like, the Concordia puts an extra layer of, like, heaviness and, like, very Euro-ness on top of it, which makes it an A game. And I think Transatlantic puts, like, super cool theme and fun gameplay on top of it to make it an A game. And I think they're, enough different that I think I could see myself owning both for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I thought for sure you'd want to own Mechs versus Minions. That's one that it seems like it would be a game that you love. That's clearly a lie. If you own Mechs versus Minions, you'd put it in the recycling bin and get the like raw plastic value out of it to buy like a card game or something that you wanted.
Right. Yeah, if I had Mechs versus Minions, I would probably, it would be trade fodder on BGG for anything else probably.
Except for you have to ship it, which is going to cost you like $100. But anyway,
that's true. I could probably get Predaporter though if I had Mechs versus Minions.
Have that? I should do. I should trade for that game, and then I'll have another coveted game. Like that's really what it's about. Having games that people will like are jealous of you owning. So
yeah, I want Predaporter so bad. There
is a part of that people like definitely have that in them, that they have pride in owning Grail games. So games that you and I both own that we've bought since we played the other person's copy of it. Definitely for me, Shakespeare. Actually, I didn't even play your copy. You just talked about it, and I was like, "Oh, I think I need to own that." And I found a good deal with it. So that's one that I picked up. There's some other ones too. What else did I pick up that I played your copy, and I was like, "I need to own it." Grand Austria Hotel.
Oh yeah,
that one
Grand
definitely.
Austria. Yeah,
yeah. I really enjoyed that game, and I thought that's something that's accessible enough to like my gaming group around here. So that was one that I coveted and bought. I'm thinking the only one that you've bought that I own would probably be Bruges.
And I have Revolution now as well.
Ah, yes, Revolution. Getting Revolution for a song like you did is ugly, and it wasn't marketed well at all. And then
You're right.
Be happy that you got it for $25. Yeah.
Well, no, I think I got Istanbul because you talked about it as well on your top 100.
That's a great game too. I've had my copy at my friend's house for like over a year now, and I'm like ready to drive over to his house. He lives like 40 minutes from me, and I'm ready to drive to his house and be like, "Hey, I need my copy of Istanbul back." So yeah, thanks, and spend $30 worth of gas to get my $30 game. But still, like,
right.
I'm ready to have it back. That's a game that I really love.
Yeah, it's a good game.
So he sent me a picture of his family playing it just to make me mad, I think. He's like, notice that we're all at the tea house. Ha, ha, ha. I'm like, yeah, I want my game back. Give it back. So if you're listening to this podcast, you know who you are. Give me my game back.
I have a buddy. Every time he comes up, he came over to my house last night and we played games till like 11:30. And he ended up He borrowed a game. He has like 3.
Yeah, and it's like a good friend of you to lend out your copy of Century Spice Road if that's the one you gave him. So,
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good game. Well, cool. This is crazy, Jason. This is our short episode, and our long episode, and it's actually shorter than our short episode last week, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I think people are going to be kind of sad they don't get to like talk to us for an hour and 7 minutes or whatever the normal show length is, but I'd rather do 52 good minutes than like 107 crappy ones. So anyway, I really don't have anything else to say except for go to our Facebook page, and there is more content of Jason and I, talking about games and stuff that you haven't heard if you're just a podcast subscriber. Check us out over there. You also, if you go to our Facebook page, we'll get to see Katie and Kim, who are like our sister presenters or something. I don't know. I guess it's weird to call your wife our sister, but like they do some real explanations in top 25 games. They're kind of fun to watch as well. Right. And then I think if you go to I don't know where we have a link at, but I just put up a really bad audio quality long play of Terraforming Mars. It's really long. It's like an hour and a half long because we do almost a full play of the game, but we have some pretty funny jokes about inbreeding on Mars. So there are some good things in there if you listen to the whole episode. So anyway, if you want more of us, go check out the Facebook page as well. The Instagram too. Jason does a nice job posting there, and our Twitter somewhat to a degree at least. So, but who uses Twitter anymore, honestly? So
yeah, I don't know. I don't post on that much, but Instagram for sure. There'll be pictures on there every day, probably.
Yeah, and in 5 years from now, like our Twitter account might be out there somewhere, but it'll just be like everyone else's, dusty and unused. So.
Yeah, and also, if we can get to 300 likes or followers on Facebook,
oh, absolutely,
we'll start up a Q&A. We don't know how that's going to work, but we put
I think
that
Jason
out.
and I'll probably take turns doing Q&As on Facebook Live, and actually, that sounds really fun to me. I'd love to have you guys ask me if I'd rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses. So,
I don't want to fight either.
No, I think a board game about that would be really cool too. So
there is kind of a board game like that called Super Fight. Have you ever played that?
I have. I used to get like a loot crate, and they had a little like exclusive loot crate deck in there. So I had like a little tiny deck of that stuff, and it's one of those games like Cards Against Humanity where it's like kind of neat and fun the first couple times you play, and then it's kind of like, oh, okay, I don't really feel like arguing, but this is funny, zany fun. I would rather have Mr. Rogers with an atom bomb than Hitler with a slingshot, or Hitler with a slingshot, or whatever. I don't know. So
it's fun.
For sure.
We bought it when we were in Seattle one time. They had this cool game store in Olympia, Washington, and I got that and like a couple of the colored expansions, like a blue and a purple, I think. And
it's one of those games with the right group. It's awesome.
Yeah, you can just sit around and just pull out some cards and argue about it for a while. I mean, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, anything else, Jason?
I don't think so. We're just waiting for our couple review copies, and then we'll get some of that stuff up for you guys to check out. And we need to come up with a word, though. We need a secret word.
What's our word going to be? I think our word should be Discord this week, because I don't know if it came through in this podcast or not, but our Discord connection got really bad at a few times. So I was like kind of guessing when Jason was done talking, and I hope I guessed right. So I don't know.
Yeah, I have another word.
There you have.
Yeah, I have another word, but we can use Discord because part of it was me messing with the mute on my microphone because my kid was yelling. So that could be part of it too.
How dare you have toddlers?
Yeah.
What's your other word, Jason? Did you say it?
Yeah, it was mute. The mute button.
Got it. Yeah. Oh, whoever edits this episode, God bless you. Not it.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily as bad as you think it is. So, but yeah.
Yeah. I definitely know I cut you off and talked over you a couple times. So sorry about that. And sorry, audience. I know I'm pretty brash and jerkish, but there were just a couple times where I just didn't know what was going on because you had that whole like, well, my favorite game is and that's why I really love that game. So I don't know. Hopefully some good art came out of this somehow. Like, I don't know, whatever.
It sounded fine on my end, so we'll leave it at that.
Oh, good. And I tend to talk more than you, so I think we'll be fine. So, then guys, I've been Joel.
And I'm Jason.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah.